Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Tonight I'm here to share a story time with you guys, and this is the story of how I almost got jumped. Now, I have seen a lot of like YouTube videos like story times where girls have actually got jumped, so kudos to y'all the real MVP. But I came really close and it was just really crazy. So let's just jump right in. Story starts, it's kind of funny. All right, so I was living out west. Out west. So there wasn't really like a lot of black people in my neighborhood. I'm from Miami, so I came from like, there wasn't a lot of black people where I moved to or whatever. So there was a girl that ended up moving like maybe 2 doors down the street from me, and her name was, let's say her name was Cara, right? So me and Cara like became friends. She was a little younger than me, but she didn't really act it and she definitely didn't look it, so we like hung out or whatever. And she lived like 2 doors down from me, so we were like really close or whatever, well, really quickly. So one day Cara comes over and she's talking to me about another girl that lived in our neighborhood, but she lived like on the other side of our neighborhood, and her name was Cheryl, right? So Cara tells me, she's like, oh, Cheryl was saying this about you, and you know, like all this stuff, like just saying a bunch of stuff that Cheryl was saying about me. And the stuff that she was saying wasn't necessarily true, but it was stuff that I know Cheryl would have said, like things that I know Cheryl would have said, you know what I mean? So I know the girl wasn't making it up. So she's like, oh yeah, she told me this. So this was a long time ago. This is like in high school. So me, of course, being a dumb like high school girl, of course I'm gonna retaliate, and I'm like, what? Like Cheryl couldn't have said that about me because da 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 da. So I start telling Cheryl's business. The only thing was that what I was saying about Cheryl was true. And I knew this because Cheryl had told me herself. So she's like making up a bunch of stuff about me or whatever. And the girl tells me, and I'm like, well, wow, she can't say that about me because, you know, this. Tell me why the whole conversation that we're having at my house, this girl was recording it on her phone. So of course, needless to say, I didn't know till like way after. So I go to school maybe like the next day or a few days later, and I just hear like rumors like, oh, girl Cheryl want to fight you. And like me and this girl Cheryl, we were friends but not really friends. We were like kind of frenemies. Like she didn't like me, but she talked to me, like I don't know, it was weird. So she always like didn't like me or always wanted to fight me, and I was just like, okay, I didn't even know the reason. I was just like, okay, whatever. I didn't pay any attention. So lunchtime rolls around, and like Cheryl comes up to me with like a group of her friends, and she's like, oh, were you talking about me? I'm like, what? Girl, I didn't deny it. I didn't say I wasn't. I was just like not paying her attention. I'm like, girl, what? Or whatever. And she's like, were you talking about me? Yes or no? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, watch out or whatever. And she's like, I know you was talking about me because I got you on recording or whatever. And that just caught me so off guard because who does that? So she's like, I got you on recording or whatever, talking about me, and after school I'm gonna beat your ass or whatever. And in high school, a lot of people didn't really like me. I wasn't popular or anything, but just people just didn't like me, whatever. So I was just like, girl, whatever. Like a lot of people say they wanted to fight me or this and that, and just I got into one fight in high school and it was dumb. But she's like, oh, I'm gonna fight you, whatever. And I was just like, whatever. I didn't pay her no attention. But it was just kind of crazy to me because I'm like, wow, this girl really recorded it. And I think at lunch she had played the recording or whatever, and it was definitely me saying like, oh, Cheryl this, Cheryl that. That's just crazy. But yeah, so she played the recording at lunch or whatever, and I was just like, whatever, you know. Now this was the last day of school before, I want to say, winter break. it was like before winter or spring break, but it was just like the last day of school before we had like a really long break. So I didn't pay her any attention or whatever. This was like lunchtime, so school goes by, whatever. I don't hear nothing about it. And I go home, like we lived in the same neighborhood, so I went home and I didn't see her like on my way home or anything like that because I live really close to the school. So I'm home and I get a phone call from this guy that I used to talk to in school, and he's like, oh, I heard Cheryl wants to fight you or whatever. And you know, I call her, like this guy that I was like kind of talking to, and he's like, oh, I heard Cheryl wants to fight you or whatever. And I tried to call her and I'm telling her like, leave you alone or whatever. I'm like, ain't nobody worried about her. Like nobody's worried about her, right? So we got out of school at like 2:40. At this point, it was maybe like 4:30 or 5 o'clock ish. I was home alone with my nephew, and at the time, my nephew, I want to say, was like 1. And I remember I was upstairs babysitting or whatever, watching TV, and I hear at my door, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I go to like my room. I was in my mom's room, which was on the other side of the house. My room was facing the street, so like if I look out my window, I can see the street. So instead of going downstairs to go to the door, I look out my window to see who's there. No lie, no lie, there was like legit like 40 people outside of my house. Like literally 40, like 40 people outside my house. And it was just crazy to me. Like, it was just so crazy. So I look at my window and I see all these people outside my house. I'm like, what the fuck? And I have my nephew with me. So I'm like, oh shit. So I go downstairs or whatever and I look through the peephole and she's like, she was already ratchet. She's like, she had like a bandana on, like gym shorts, like ready to fight. And she's like, come outside, ho, come outside, ho, come outside. Or whatever. I look on my people. I turn my ass back around and I went back upstairs. Now I go back upstairs to look out the window or whatever, and I see she has like a few other girls with her, girls that I don't even think they went to my school. Like just a bunch of other girls that was like, come outside, like throwing rocks at my window to get me to come outside. Now, you could call me whatever you want to call me. You could call me soft. You could call me scary. You could call me chicken. But you can't call me stupid. Like, I'm not going to see a million people outside, like, with girls outside threatening to jump me for me to come outside with my 1-year-old nephew, like, oh, what's up, let's fight. No. So I looked out the window and I'm like, alright, fuck these hoes. But the crowd was like most of the people that were there, I think, were there to, like, see the fight, because she was kind of like boosting it up at school. She was like, oh, you know, like, come to the neighborhood, we gonna fight, like boosting it up. I didn't pay her any attention because I'm like, whatever. Because I felt like if she wanted to fight me, she would have fought me in lunch, like, not no wait till after school, I'm gonna beat you, you know. So whatever, I didn't really pay her any attention. So I go back in the room and I'm just like thinking it's gonna die down or whatever. Like 10 minutes later, she's still outside, like just rapping. And honestly, this happened a while ago, but I wasn't scared necessarily. Like, I don't remember like looking out the window being like, oh shit, like this girl's gonna beat my ass or anything like that. I was just more so like, girl, like, get out of here. First of all, I'm home by myself with my nephew, so I'm supposed to leave him outside. Like, I'm supposed to leave him inside to come like argue with you. Even if I was home by myself, I wouldn't have came outside because I wasn't gonna get beat up. Like, that just wasn't gonna happen. I'm in the room, like, still watching TV, whatever, thinking it's gonna die down. This girl jumps my neighbor's gate to, like, my neighbor's gate to jump their back gate to get into my backyard to try to come to my house from my back. She was knocking on my back door, on my sliding door. Like, girl, what? Like, what? So I'm ignoring her, whatever. And like I said, I was home by myself. So maybe a few minutes later, like, it started to die down. Maybe like 20, 30 minutes later, it started dying down. But it was still like so many people that had came from like after school or whatever to see the fight. So they were still kind of like straggling on my block. So a few minutes later, my mom and my aunt and my sister pull up or whatever. So I see them, so of course I'm like, all right, cool, I can come outside now because they're not gonna let me get jumped. So I come outside, I have my nephew with me or whatever, and then she sees I come out and she's like, what's all that shit you was talking? What's all that shit you was talking? I'm like, girl, what? Like, what are you talking about? Or whatever. And I got my nephew with me, and my mom's like, what's going on? Like, can you just imagine, like, she just comes home and she sees all these people outside, like, talking about fighting her daughter. So my mom is like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell is going on? Or whatever. And she's like, so she tells my mom, she's like, Miss, I'm sorry, but I want to fight your daughter. Or whatever. And my mom is like, what? Like, you want to fight my daughter for what? Like, what's going on? Or whatever. And she's like, I want to fight her because I don't like her and she's a hoe. She's told my mom this. She's like, she's a hoe. She's the neighborhood hoe. She's like, oh, she's the neighborhood hoe. What did she say? She's like, she's the neighborhood bicycle. That's what she said. She said she's the neighborhood bicycle. Everybody done took a ride. Now, the craziest part was that I wasn't even having sex. Like, I wasn't even having sex then. So she was like telling my mom all this stuff or whatever. So she tells my mom this, and my mom's like, wait a minute, what? And she's like, yeah, she's a hoe, whatever. So I'm thinking like my mom gonna snap on me and be like, you're a hoe? My mom turns, and mind you, there's still like a really big group of people out there, whatever. And she's like, how is she a hoe or whatever? She's like, because she's fucking all these niggas or whatever. Lies. And then she goes, mom goes, listen, when I had my daughter and I pushed her out, she had a pussy. So if she wants to fuck whoever the fuck she wants to, that's her business, not yours. The whole block was like, oh shit, her mom's letting her be a hoe. Like, it was just crazy. So I'm like, yeah, what she said or whatever. Mom is like, are you kidding me? Like, why the fuck you so worried about her pussy and all this shit or whatever? And the girl's just like, I don't like her or whatever. And mind you, she has these other girls behind her, like, you know, they didn't say anything to me, but you could tell they was there for it. You know what I mean? Like, they was there for it. So my sister, she's 9 years older than me. So at the time, I think she was maybe like 25, 24, something like that. Like, she's 9 years older than me or whatever. So she sees these girls and she's like, jump my sister. Like, she's like, jump my sister. So she went, she grabbed my sister went, she grabbed a hammer, like a rusty old hammer. And she was like, who gonna jump my sister? She's like, who gonna jump my sister? Who gonna jump my sister? Touch her, I dare you, or whatever. So she tells the girl, she's like, if you want to fight my sister, then you can fight her, like, one-on-one, but you're not gonna bring these girls here to jump my sister. That's not gonna happen. They end up fighting, basically. But she was like, oh, she's still a hoe or whatever. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, you just don't like me, but whatever. And mind you, like I said, this was the day before spring break or winter break or whatever. So by the time we got back, everyone kind of had forgotten about it. And then the girl, Cara, who had like recorded it or whatever, she she came to my house a few days later, like apologizing, like teary-eyed. She was like, oh, you know, I'm new to the neighborhood and she had asked me to do it or whatever, and I didn't really know how it was gonna play out. I'm like, oh, you knew how it was gonna play out. You wanted me to get my ass whipped. I mean, that was that. And that's probably, like, that's definitely the closest I've ever come to being jumped. And it wasn't even really that close because I wasn't, like, outside until I had, like, you know, back up. Like, I'm like, okay, you know, my mama check, my auntie check, my sister check. Like, I wasn't gonna get jumped. Like, it just was not in the stars for me to get jumped. So it did not happen, luckily. So, yeah, that's my story on how I almost got jumped. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you like the story. Tell me what you would have done if you were in my shoes. Would you have come outside? Would you have came out with a weapon? Would you try to fight? You know what I mean? Let me know what you would have done and what you thought about what I did. Share this video and stay tuned for more videos like this. You don't need no